Tipping is a common practice in America, where we're expected to leave a certain percentage of our bill to the service workers who serve us. But have you ever wondered where this tradition came from and what it really means? You might be surprised to learn that tipping has a dark and controversial history, rooted in racial exploitation and economic injustice. Tipping was originally a way for Americans to avoid paying fair wages to freed slaves and other marginalized workers, and it has persisted as a system that perpetuates inequality and discrimination. It's time to reveal the hidden truths behind our tipping culture and how it affects the lives of millions of workers and consumers.
Tipping, to tip or not to tip? That appears to be the question yet again as tipping options pop up in new places.
I feel like there's a stigma where you have to tip for basically everything.
The tipping system in America puts workers on shaky ground, with the federal tipped minimum wage set shockingly low at just $2.13 per hour. Servers are heavily reliant on tips to bolster their income. This reliance leaves them vulnerable and insecure, as income can fluctuate wildly from one day to the next based purely on factors outside of a worker's control, such as customer mood or restaurant traffic. Beyond this, studies show that those in casual dining have to work significantly harder than white men in fine dining establishments merely to attain the standard minimum wage. The current tipping practice exacerbates economic instability for service industry workers, pushing them into poverty at triple the rate of other U.S. employees. Discrimination finds its way into the world of servers, creating a loop of inequality. Servers from different racial groups often experience disparity in their earnings from tips, as diners tend to be more generous with white servers compared to black ones. This form of imbalance amplifies racial inequality within our society and further widens the wage gap. Also, some restaurant workplaces allow detrimental practices such as code words alerting avoidance or substandard services towards specific customers based on their race. Excuse me. Instances like these can contribute significantly to tip revenue disparities and worker exploitation across racial lines in this industry. The custom appeases implicit biases, with white servers and bartenders traditionally receiving higher tips than their counterparts of other races. This biased tipping behavior is evident across different demographics of diners, regardless of their own ethnicities, often resulting in more favorable treatment for white staff members. Discrimination doesn't stop at income levels, it infiltrates hiring practices too. Available jobs in fine dining restaurants are disproportionately offered to white servers, while people of color get confined to non-tipped positions or lower-end eateries. Granting front-of-house roles based on race prevents many from accessing profitable tip pools and creates a sizable wage gap in an already low-paying sector. In some establishments, degrading code words pass around when black customers arrive, which affects both the employees and clientele alike by enforcing harmful stereotypes that suggest black diners tip less generously.
The group was told they'd have to prepay for their meals. That's when Wickham says he noticed his group of friends were the only black people in the restaurant.
Worker exploitation is a dark reality in many industries, including the restaurant business. In this industry, workers often face low wages and unfair treatment that can lead to exploitation. For example, tipping practices can create power imbalances between customers and servers and leave workers reliant on unpredictable tip income. This reliance on tips puts workers at the mercy of customers who may have their own biases or prejudices when it comes to tipping. These issues highlight the need for fair wages and protection against worker exploitation in various sectors. From coffee shops to roller rinks, tipping absurdities are becoming more prevalent than ever. Some real-life examples that will leave you shaking your head can be at a local coffee shop. A customer left a $2 tip for their $4 latte, only to have the barista chase them out the door demanding more. Or a group of friends went bowling and left a generous tip for their lane attendant. However, when they returned the following week, the attendant insisted on a higher tip as they had set a precedent, or maybe one diner had an unforgettable experience at a restaurant where the waiter demanded an additional tip because they had provided exceptional service despite already receiving 20%. More and more people are expressing their dissatisfaction with the expectation of tipping in roles that traditionally don't involve direct service. Despite offering a generous tip, some customers have even faced demands for more money.
More money?
This growing discontent highlights the need to reevaluate and potentially eliminate unnecessary tipping in non-service roles. Customers who demand more tips despite receiving a generous offering from their server showcase an audacious sense of entitlement. Despite the server providing excellent service and going above and beyond, these customers feel justified in demanding additional gratuity, further exacerbating the already unequal power dynamic between servers and customers. This behavior not only disregards the hard work and dedication of servers, but also perpetuates the notion that they are subservient to customers' whims. Gen Z and men have been identified as has the lowest tippers in America. This means that they tend to leave less gratuity for servers compared to other demographics. This finding raises questions about the tipping culture among these groups, as well as how it may impact workers in the service industry who rely on tips to supplement their income. It's important to consider why this trend exists and what changes can be made to ensure fair compensation for all workers. Tipping is a common practice in the United States, but tipping trends vary significantly from region to region. In the Northeast, the typical tipping percentage is 18-20%, while in the South, it's 15 to 18%. The Midwest and West have similar tipping rates, around 15 to 20%. These figures are not exact, but they give you a general idea of how much you should tip in different parts of the country. It's also worth noting that in some states, tipped employees receive a lower minimum wage, so tipping is even more important for them. Tipping culture in the U.S. is a complex issue, and there are many arguments for and against it. Some people believe that tipping is a way to show appreciation for good service, while others believe that it's an unfair system that puts the burden of paying workers' wages on customers. Advocacy for fair wages is crucial in addressing the systemic issues surrounding tipping. Many proponents argue that tipping perpetuates a two-tiered system where workers rely on tips to make up for their low base wages. Advocates believe that implementing fair wage policies would ensure more stable and equitable incomes for workers, reducing their dependence on customer generosity. By advocating for fair wages, society can work towards creating a more just and sustainable service industry where workers are compensated fairly for their labor. Restaurants implementing no tipping policies have been gaining momentum as a solution to the issues surrounding tipping. Perhaps having an alternative approach of no tipping policies that shift the responsibility of paying fair wages from customers to businesses. These policies aim to eliminate the power imbalance between customers and workers, ensuring that employees receive a stable income without relying on uncertain tips. By removing the need for tipping, restaurants can provide a more equitable work environment where all workers are paid fairly, regardless of their positions or shifts. With no tipping policies, the pressure on servers to provide exceptional service solely for the sake of earning tips is reduced, allowing them to focus more on their job responsibilities and providing quality service to all customers. Furthermore, by eliminating tipping, restaurants can streamline their pricing structure and avoid unexpected fluctuations in costs for both customers and employees. A service charge system offers several benefits, particularly for workers in the restaurant industry. By shifting the responsibility of paying fair wages from customers to the restaurant, it eliminates the uncertainty of relying on tips and provides a more reliable income for servers. This system also helps address the power dynamic that fosters vulnerability to sexual harassment, as servers are no longer dependent on customer gratuities. Additionally, implementing a service charge system can help prevent wage and labor law violations by ensuring that workers receive their rightful earnings without any deductions or tip theft. Ultimately, eliminating the subminimum tipped wage and establishing a fair wage for all workers is crucial in creating a more equitable and sustainable industry. The dark realities of tipping should give pause to everyone. This complex tradition permeates inequality, discrimination, and exploitation, an injustice that shouldn't be accepted. The question is, where to go from here? How can society evolve to a place of fairness and equity for all workers? When you're at a restaurant, look your server in the eyes and see their humanity. They deserve so much more than the current flawed system allows. The path forward won't be easy, but a better future is possible. A future where exploitation and inequality don't lurk beneath the traditions of the past, where all workers can thrive with dignity. That inspiring vision starts with you. Will you join the movement? Let me know in the comments your thoughts on alternatives to tipping culture, and who knows, this current tipping culture is the main reason why many people are forced to stay in their job, a job that they hate and dread, clocking in every weekday compared to exploring their creativity to the world. Check it out to see for yourself.